Welcome, everybody. The usual warnings: look after yourself. If you have any funny symptoms, particularly referable to hyperventilation like dizziness, pins and needles, etc., stop immediately and rebreathe through cupped hands or a convenient paper bag. So, also, if we are doing practice, we need to be our own authority about what we're doing, about discriminating about what is useful, and trying to have a little bit of fun and enjoyment in the process. So look after yourself and relax and have some enjoyment. Now, with anxiety in general, there are many approaches to dealing with anxiety. I was on Amazon the other day to see how many books they have on anxiety and panic. There were 75 pages of titles. So, literally hundreds of books. Basically, they are all saying the same thing. There's only one approach to anxiety, and that is to see that anxiety is usually groundless. Unless you're living in a war zone or surrounded by some other catastrophes, there is no reason to be anxious. It doesn't serve any purpose. So the one way of dealing with anxiety is to realize that, for a start. That's the starting point, that our anxieties are usually 99.9% of the time baseless. That is the one way, as in the Sufi saying about finding God. There are as many ways to God as there are people, but there is only one way. I will leave you to decide what that one way is. So, anxiety is a story which we're telling ourselves with our verbal self-talk, coupled with bodily sensations. It's the story plus bodily sensations equals an emotional reaction of anxiety. Now, there are many stories we tell ourselves about anxiety, whatever we're anxious about. I'm anxious about the personal confrontation I must have with someone tomorrow. I'm anxious about some public speaking. I'm anxious about my finances. I'm anxious about my health. These are the individual stories we all have. But there's only one story, and that is when I think about the situation that is causing me anxiety, I am worrying that I cannot handle it, or that I won't be able to handle it. And that is the basis of Susan Jeffers' book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Her one great insight was that all fears boil down to one fear, which is that I won't be able to handle it, whatever it is. If you think you can handle anything, well, you'll handle it at the time, on the day. You'll be able to handle it. You'll know what to do. So that is a very important consideration. Susan Jeffers' book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, is my kind of perennial recommendation as a go-to book on anxiety. So when we're dealing with anxiety, we deal with the story, which is basically I can't handle it. And she has many wonderful suggestions course, around all that, but they all amount to one thing, which we will come on to. And there is dealing with the somatic signals we get from our body, which are saying to us, this is a situation to fear or anticipate fear. So we address those two things. And of course, they reinforce one another. As I worry with the story in my mind, my body responds with anxiety signals. And when I get anxiety signals in my body, it just keeps the story going. And when we're in that state of continual or periodic worry, our ability to think about the worry diminishes because our focus narrows. Rather than being open to all possibilities of what we would do to handle a situation, the wider possibilities which will shrink down the importance of this worry, we can't see all those because our focus narrows down like a narrow torch beam and just focuses on the problem. And the more we focus with narrow attention, the less able we are to deal with it. So the only way of dealing with an anxiety problem is paradoxically to calm down. Then you can think more about it and you begin to break the cycle of conscious worry and somatic symptoms, reinforcing one another. And by the way, you all know about the cognitive distortions, which the cognitive behavioral therapists love to talk about so much. Black and white thinking, catastrophizing, personalizing, all of those kinds of things which we do, which are basically primitive ways of thinking about things, which we haven't fully grown out of from our childhood. When that's all our brains could do, because they couldn't think in a sophisticated, broad, open way about problems. So in my book, Living Space, there's a lot about chronic stress and anxiety and what to do to deal with them by opening that narrow focus. I'll do an exercise on that in a moment. When in doubt, open your focus. Calm down and let your right brain offer you, without effort, a broader perspective, some solutions you may not have thought of, some sources of help that you weren't aware of, etc., etc. That is the whole key, to allow the subconscious mind, which today, in today's neuroscience, we might call the right hemisphere, to allow the subconscious mind to manifest solutions for you without any thinking or effort on your part, because that's what it does. That's what the right brain does. It's the storehouse of wisdom, which we've inherited from 4 billion years worth of organic evolution on this planet. Okay, so let's do a little exercise which will involve some breathing, but which is a calming down exercise. I'm using as a framework the GAP, the GAP exercise from David Fromm's book on focusing. GAP is grounding. So, always good when relaxing to sit with both feet on the floor, hands on your laps, sitting reasonably straight, eyes open or closed, doesn't matter. And just feeling down into your body. When you're feeling down into your body, you are feeling down into relaxed abdominal breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing, low and relaxed. Breathing through your nose. The more we sit like that, our attention is down on low and slow and regular diaphragmatic breathing. Our default breath. Just doing that has amazing effects on the body. Low, slow diaphragmatic breathing. We know from the science it improves oxygenation. It improves heart function. It balances the brain. All good things. Just there, by stopping what we're doing. Sinking into our bodies. We feel the whole body all at once. Feeling the whole body all at once. And then feeling within that feeling of the whole body all at once. We feel that low and slow abdominal breathing. And we relax more and more into that whole body sense and the feeling of the low, slow abdominal breathing. Low and slow abdominal breathing. Our default breathing. The breathing that dissolves all problems. Good. And now we open up our awareness space, the A in GAP, grounding, then awareness. The simplest way to do that is to be aware of sounds all around. Just be aware of the sounds. But don't narrow your attention onto any sounds. Just aware of the great space in which sounds are arising. And it can help to have your eyes open and unfocused and simply be aware of the great bowl of space in which you're sitting. Easier to do this, of course, if you're sitting outside. Just, for example, if you're in a room, be aware of yourself sitting in the space of that room. Just looking forward, unfocusing the eyes, softening the eyes. Soften the eyes, and be aware of the space all around. Check in with your breathing, low and slow, relaxed, low and slow and relaxed, and the great space that you are in. And the sounds arising from that space all around you. And then P for presence. We're aware that we are aware. I'm aware of my own awareness. Aliveness or presence. I'm aware of presence. Thoughts and sensations arise. Try not to be taken by them. Try not to focus in on them. Just relaxing. Aware of presence. Your presence. Your presence, which is also great space and is also the whole sense of your body sitting in this room. It's all presence. Feeling of the body all at once. The great space in which you are sitting and the consciousness which fills that space. Consciousness that fills that space. And then, if you wish, you can do some balanced breath or alternate nostril breathing. We shall just do a couple of minutes of alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to breathe in for 6, starting with the left nostril. We're going to breathe in for 6, feeling the cool air coming in through our left nostril. Then we're going to breathe out for 6 through the other nostril, feeling the warm air coming out through our nostril. Then we're going to breathe in through that nostril and feel the cool air. And back to where we started, feeling the warm air coming out of our left nostril. And we'll just do that for a couple of minutes. And I will count as usual. 6 in, 6 out. Starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And finish. Good. So I find this very useful when sitting down to meditate or just sitting in the garden, not doing anything. The gap forming, sinking into my body, feeling the whole body all at once, and feeling the abdominal respiration and letting it slow and relax. Opening awareness to the sounds around and the great space in which sounds are arising. And then coming to the idea that consciousness is all there is, awareness is all there is, and is manifesting as that whole body sense, and the space in which sounds and everything else is arising. And I am that presence. And then one can segue into meditating, doing breath practice, just sitting, doing nothing. Good. The best meditation practice in my mind is sitting doing nothing, not sitting doing a meditation practice. That's doing. Can you just sit? Can you just sit doing nothing? You know the old saying, sometimes I sits and thinks. Sometimes I just sits. Meditation is just sitting. Nothing special. You're not doing anything. You've got your eyes closed. It's a great world out there. Why would you close your eyes? Fabulous world. I'm not saying a mantra. I don't say there's anything wrong with mantra practice. Absolutely. But it's a doing. Can you just sit and not do? Good. Gap and other ways of bringing the general arousal level in your nervous system down. All these methods that there are, the 500 methods on YouTube for stimulating your vagus nerve, they all amount to bringing arousal down to an optimal level so that you're relaxed but alert. Relaxed and alert. That's how we want to be. That is happiness, being relaxed and alert. When you're relaxed and alert, you know what's going on around you. Your brain will inform you what the right thing to do is, as long as you remain relaxed and alert. You don't have to worry if you're relaxed and alert. Things will take care of themselves. That is the essential teaching in the spiritual traditions, how to live your life. Practice being relaxed and alert, and God will take care of the rest. Good. Depending on your temperament, of course, you will be anxious in different ways and about different things. If you're a strong pitta, lots of fire, and you're a competitive, excitement-seeking individual, well, you'll worry about where your next fix is going to come from, or that you're not top of the pile. Those who might have been following the Tour de France, which finished on Sunday, it was very interesting to see how the guy who won, Pogacar, and Vingegaard were, the guy who came second, Vingegaard, were after the final race. Pogacar was leaping around as if he'd just gone for a Sunday afternoon stroll. Vingegaard looked like he was just about to expire because of the effect on their bodies of their mental state. I won. Ooh, gosh, all the chemicals come to the party. Your body feels fine. You just raced 3,500 kilometers over the last 3 weeks, but you're feeling fine. Vingegaard came second. I'm defeated. It was a wreck. And you see this after competitive sports. You know, the team that win, they're running around, happy as Larry, like young rabbits. The team that were defeated are lying on the ground in tears. It's all a state of mind. Okay. So it is our daily practice in continually remembering to bring down our arousal levels if we have chronic anxiety or we feel that we are chronically stressed. The set meditation periods or relaxation periods are good. They give us a reference point. But the main thing is to be continually through the day watching ourselves and watching how we allow our arousal levels to build up by not taking frequent breaks, by not talking to ourselves in the right way. The other guiding phrase, which I mentioned the other week, was from that book, When I Was a Friend to Myself. So the guiding phrase for me is, am I being a friend to myself? Am I being a friend to myself? Or am I being a judge, a critic, an unhelpful Job's comforter? Or am I being a friend to myself? Am I being a friend to myself? Am I giving myself a break from worry? Am I giving myself soothing phrases? Am I talking to myself in a nurturing way? It's important. Am I talking to myself in a nurturing way? How would I talk to my best friend if they were in this situation or worrying about this thing I'm worrying about? What would I say to them? Well, I'd probably try and reframe the situation. Well, think about it a different way. Let's try and shrink it down. It'll be all right. And using nurturing phrases, particularly when one's in a stressful situation. I'll be through this soon. I've done this before. It'll be all right. One thing at a time. It's very, very important to talk to oneself in a nurturing way and not go with those judgmental programs which feed in to these catastrophic stories. So another good exercise, which you can use before a breathing practice or just by itself, is from Eugene Gendlin, the American professor of psychology who developed the focusing technique in his book, Focusing, is to clear a space. We're often chronically anxious because there's a buildup of different worries and they start cluttering up the mind, and we can't prioritize them because the more we worry, the less we can think, the less we can step back, prioritize, and get things into perspective. So his first exercise is to clear a space. To clear a space. And this is, I think, such an excellent exercise. You sit down, you ground, relax your breathing. Check in with your body. Okay. All right. Checking in with the whole body sense. What are the things I'm worried about? All right. A worry will pop up. All right. You're going to put that worry in a big plastic bin, which is somewhere near where you're sitting. That bin's got a particular color or particular colored lid. So, all right, you're just going to put that worry in that yellow bin a minute. And you say to the worry, I'm putting you in the bin for the moment. I'm going to come back to you. So I'm not ignoring you. But just for the moment, let's just rest you in that bin. Close the lid. And you consult yourself. What worry is still there? Another worry will pop up. Oh, I'll put that in the blue bin over there. You say to the worry, all right, look, I'm just putting you in the bin for the time being. I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to deal with you. I'm not going to ignore you. Just for the moment, you can stay in the blue bin. That would be good for me. And so on until you feel that there aren't any worries left. According to Gendlin, and it is my experience too, people generally have 4 or 5 bins that they can put their worries in. And then, if you want to do some problem solving with a particular worry, your brain is already a bit clearer. And if you do a little bit of opening to space and relaxing in the body and really coming down back into yourself, coming into yourself. Are you in yourself? What I call my basic sanity. I know when I come back to that, I'm in my basic sanity. Nowhere to go, nothing to do right now. I'm in my basic sanity, which is to be relaxed and alert and present. I can take one of those worries out of the bin and take it on. All right. How does my body feel now? How's my whole body, my whole felt sense of that worry? How is that? And you just let that be and see if any words or images come to you, which would illuminate the nature of that worry, what's at its core, what to do about it. And that's the focusing technique. And we can do that again another time in much more detail, really taking your time about it. But for the moment, I just want to emphasize you can put your worries in a bin for a while to create a bit of mental space for yourself. You've got to tell them you're not repressing them or trying to get rid of them. You will come back to them. but just to give yourself a space. The most important thing is to stay awake during the day and not be carried off into a stressful and worrisome train of thought. And before you know it, you're really stressing about something and it's got a life of its own. Just constantly self-remember. Remember to be present. And I don't like so much using that term mindful, but to be open to what is happening for you, with you, and in you. And to settle down. Settle down. Maybe take a little break, really become relaxed, spacious, and go into your default breath. Or do a little bit of rhythmic breath, 6 in, 6 out. Just to come back to yourself, the natural sanity, which is ourselves. Okay. Chip in at any time to ask any questions, by the way, of course. Let's do a breath exercise. Now, here's an interesting book, Sacred Therapies by David Shanahan Khalsa. He's a very experienced Kundalini yoga practitioner. This book, Sacred Therapies, has specific yogic recommendations for all the DSM categories, which is unusual. He goes at great lengths to define the various psychiatric diagnoses and gives remedies for them. I'm not so sure what I think about psychiatric diagnoses. They're not for the faint-hearted, and often, as you know, they do more damage than they do good. But there are interesting therapies in there, in that book. And this one piqued my interest, for example. This is the first part of a series of little exercises for a fatigued brain. Now, when we're tired and our brain is fatigued, then anxiety is stronger. When there's lower energy, we feel less in control. So we're more anxious because we're always afraid of being out of control, not being able to handle it. So this exercise is simple in conception. We're going to breathe in for 8 and out for 8 through the nose. So we're going to go. Probably some of you can't hear that. So I'm sniffing in 8 little steps on an in-breath, and then sniffing out on 8 little steps on an out-breath. Now I'm holding my arms level out in front of me, left palm up, right palm down. And I'm doing like that for each sniff. So I'm going like this. Just try that out a moment. So for each sniff, bouncing the ball. Here we go. I'm doing 8. Arms are at the sides. The forearms are level. The left palm is up. The right palm is down. If I were holding my arms level, you wouldn't be able to see them. So I'm holding them up so you can see them. And we're just going to do that a couple of times, starting now. Good. Let's do it 3 times next time round. Now, be
Excuse me.
careful. Hello.
Hi, is it 8 each side or is it 8 in total?
It's 8 in total.
So it's 8 short breaths in total.
8 in and 8 out.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Now, then we turn the left palm down and the right palm up. And we do 3 this time. And rest. Relax the shoulders. And then we do a third lot, back where we started with the left palm up, the right palm down, and we do 3 rounds. And rest, relax the shoulders. There are some other parts to that exercise, but that's enough to be going on with. So that, in his opinion, is beneficial for brain fatigue. He says do 3 minutes, palm up, left palm up, right palm down, do 3 minutes, 3 minutes, the other way around, and then 3 minutes that way around. Now, with the sniffing, I expect most of you know by experience, you can easily hyperventilate. So be careful. And I would say just do 3 rounds, as we did today, with 3 breaths each round. Starting off, left palm up, right palm down, and changing for a second, changing again for the 3rd round. David Shanahoff Khalsa, now he's on YouTube, and yeah, he's got some very interesting stuff. Breath plays a huge part in Kundalini Yoga. There are many mantric and breath exercises of one sort or another. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. He is also an academic, and he's written a fabulous book on ultradian rhythms and the autonomic nervous system. Very learned, very dense, very illuminating about how breath practice affects and balances the autonomic nervous system and the brain. So a lot of scientific backup there. At the end of the day, when we're talking about scientific backup, most of the science on breathing indicates that slowing the breath and breathing from the abdomen, slowing the breath to 5 or 6 breaths a minute, so at least halving the normal breath rate, has widespread therapeutic actions. It improves lung function, it improves oxygenation of the blood, it improves the heart performance and peripheral circulation. It improves the balance in the autonomic nervous system. It is good for everything. And once you balance the autonomic nervous system, then you're home and host with everything. Doesn't matter what you've got. Basically, it doesn't matter what you've got if you balance the autonomic nervous system. Now, before we finish, I must emphasize to you that if you have not watched the interview with Lauren Stiles on Health Rising, you absolutely must. It's a 1.5 hour interview with Lauren Stiles, who's the president of Dysautonomia International. It's a marvelous interview about her personal experiences. It's a mine of information. Particularly if you have POTS, if you have blood pressure problems, particularly POTS, but also with chronic fatigue and autoimmune problems. So super important that you watch that interview. Her personal journey is so fascinating. You can make a film out of it. From being a super fit 31-year-old to someone completely incapacitated in bed with POTS. So, and her road to recovery, of course. That's a good story. Lauren Stiles in Health Rising. And of course, Health Rising, as many of you will know, is the go-to site for developments in chronic fatigue, personal stories, helpful advice, you name it. It's a fabulous site. So, Lauren Stiles on Health Rising. Now, so let's finish with the thing you can always rely on, rhythmic breath. The rhythmic breath. 6/6 is going to be the rhythm. 5/5 or 6/6 are going to be the rhythms which suit most people, but you may find your body naturally gravitating to maybe 8/8 or 7/7 or 4/4, because that's the way it wants to go. That's what is most harmonious for it at this stage in your progress. So we'll be doing 6/6 today, but if you want to do another rhythm, you'll have to try and stop your ears and not listen to me counting, because I shall be counting in a moment. We're relaxing, sitting straight, hands on laps, and we'll do that for 3 minutes. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and finish. And to round out that, we do 3 ohms. We won't count. Well, it's roughly 4 in and 4 ah, 4 and 4 ah, ah, and we'll do 3 ohms on Good. If and when you do the ohms, try and remember to feel the vibrations in different parts of the body. You know, the ohming, as I've said to you before, is very good for stimulating the energy body, as it were, the electromagnetic body which sits behind our physical appearance. Get those photons going. I say photons because, you know, some researchers say we're generating photons. Well, we are generating photons all the time. And that's part of what the electromagnetic body is, generating photons. Be a light unto yourself, as the Buddha said. Okay, good. Thank you, everyone. Now, any queries at your disposal? I'm just going to emphasize, Peter, that that Lawrence Stiles interview. I've watched it twice. I just found it so fascinating. And if you're watching it, you'll need a pen and pencil because she just drops some utterly fascinating information out of the blue. It's all on the Dysautonomia International site, but that's a very big site. There's a lot of stuff crammed in there.
Can I ask, does she recommend or recommend against medication?
No. She has, for many years, part of her recovery was taking IVIG, intravenous immunoglobulin. So that was an important part of her recovery.
And the IVT was for the POTS, or was that for something else?
It was for the POTS.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to tell you any more because that would spoil part of the story.
No, it's just, yeah. I guess I don't know about other people, but most of my thing with POTS has been told to take things that boost the blood pressure, sort of like midodrine, fludrocortisone, salt. So when you said the immunoglobulin, I thought maybe she had some sort of bacterial infection, maybe Lyme or something underneath that was causing the POTS.
There was something underneath causing the POTS, but I'm not going to tell you what it was. It was just seriously, it's like a detective novel, and she was a prosecutor in the New York court system. She's a really smart cookie. She's super fit, and her story from her catastrophic fall into illness to recovery is astonishing.
Yes.
It's astonishing partly because chronic fatigue and POTS sufferers will be so familiar with the runaround she got in the New York health system. She still had top private insurance. And, nobody could get a grip on what was happening for her. At one point, she was in hospital for 2 months being treated for cancer, which she didn't have.
Oh, no.
Amazing story. Amazing story. I'm not going to say anymore. I'm going to shut up. And the website, Dysautonomia International, I mean, it's such a mine of information. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, so that's my little story. And of course, I was very gratified to come across her interview because dysautonomia is the thing which has interested me most for many, many years. Dysautonomia in all its forms. So interesting. No, I'm not going to say anything now because we'll come. Anybody wants to discuss this, we can have a little section in our next meeting where we discuss this interview because it's so full of stuff that's utterly gripping and fascinating.